We're going on a billboard hunt today. There are some billboards that have gone up, supposedly. I have not seen them yet. Informing the public a little bit about the cult of Scientology. So I figured, what better way to get back onto this channel than to go out on a little billboard hunt in Hollywood. So, here we go. We shall do it. Let's see if we find any. Let you see Hollywood rather than me. And when we find one of them, I'll get out of the car. We'll go into more detail with the locations and whatnot. But before we do that, it's always a good thing to check in on the Hollywood Testing Center, just to make sure there are no shenanigans. And it appears, oh, the door is open. That can't be good. Should we go and encourage them to shut that door, maybe? For the good of humanity, if we can find a place to park. Go ahead, person. That's the problem around here. Parking. Ah, we got one, even with a little green light flashing. So we can economize a little bit. Hi, A girl. Thank you for the encouragement yesterday. This makes me more accountable to actually go out and do it when I say I'm going to do it, and then somebody encourages. Well, then that makes it way harder to flake out on the whole operation. So thank you for that. And I apologize in advance for those of you who I might. Hey, Keith. Good to see you too, man. Someday I will get my cup of tea in Wales. Let's see. Wouldn't want to get a ticket. So, the fun thing lately is that they have been reopening the Hollywood Testing Center, and but as soon as anybody comes around, they close it back up again. So, hello, Office of Special Affairs. Let them know that I am approaching the Hollywood Testing Center, and if the doors are already closed, that will be a major victory, because then I will know that I am being monitored by the spy wing of a cult. And that would be exciting to know. But little old me is that important. So, Vacant Sam, hello. It would be nice to feel important enough to be monitored and to have the doors closed already. But also, if they're, they got plenty of surveillance, as we always know. So, they already see it. If anybody's attentive at all, they will know to close those damn doors before Davey Mismanige shows up on the scene and ruins everything for everybody. Oh my God, they're showing a little bit more than they used to. Yay! Victory is mine. They closed the door before I could get here. Nice! A few hidden cameras. You don't want to join a cult and give up all your money? Are you sure? It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. It's nice when people's first reaction to the cult is laughter. So apparently the billboards that are going up are, I've seen some of them, they're playing off of some of this this theme of the Scientology advertising. Curious about what it's like to join. Oh, sorry about the lens. Thank you for the tip. Okay. Hope that fixed it a little bit. Oh, yay. See, it's become a goof. This couple, they kind of pretended like they're going to go in and then they don't, and one pulls the other away, and it's become a joke, a little tourist gag here on Hollywood Boulevard. It's very well known. Okay, the lens looks better now. Way better? Cool, thank you. No, thanks for telling me. Even though I'm super sensitive to all criticism, I could take that one. But thanks. Yeah. So, when I drove by, the doors were open. And from the time it took to park and walk over here, the doors were closed. So, hey, Jesper. So yeah, it appears that, they kind of, like certain burrowed animals like gophers, groundhogs, whatever, they stick their head out of their burrow and they look, yeah, it's an OT power to make people close their doors. Absolutely. They stick their head out, and when they see danger, they just go back into their little hidey hole. So they're hiding in their hole now. Hey, Magnus. Nice to have Sweden in the house. So anyway, yeah. It's a fun day out here on Hollywood Boulevard. And anyway, this was not the main point of today. The main point of today is to go and see if we can find some of these billboards that have apparently gone up. Look at that. See, they're letting us see the ceiling in there now. They're really opening up, It's a little striptease here on Hollywood Boulevard where, they they're showing us a little bit more every now and then. You know, they keep flashing a little more skin. You know, see these windows, they're still very demure. You know, they're hiding all their assets. But then you get over there, you know, and they lift up the curtain slightly. Good job. See, they put the white tape on there to have less of a crack. What are they hiding? I wonder. Anyway, really fun to see. Eric was over in Clearwater. Maybe he's still there. Smoking cigars with the boys. Having fun. I don't get the cigar thing. Never got that. You don't inhale it, and it doesn't get you high. And then your mouth is all messed up afterwards. I don't know. I guess I just don't have enough alpha male energy to really get it. That must be what it is. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to... Never in, Aaron. Hi. Hello, Brooke. We're going to start looking around the streets of Hollywood for these billboards. Now, the problem is Tony Ortega put up a map of where the billboards are on his website, but it wasn't really detailed enough. Like, when I tried to zoom in, you know, and find the exact corners and everything, it wasn't very clear. So we're just going to have to do a search. But one thing I did hear was that there's a boulevard over by a billboard over by the Sunset Studios. So there's like a TV studio that Scientology bought from the public broadcasting station here in LA a few years ago. Total boondoggle, you know, spent hundreds of millions of dollars. No, probably not hundreds, but a lot of money. They spent a lot of money on these TV studios. Meanwhile, you know, they had a whole movie studio complex out in Hemet, I guess, Gold Base, and that was not being fully utilized. So it was unclear why they would need more studio infrastructure, but nonetheless, they got to do something with that chump money they get. And that's one of the things they do, is they build studios. And they, you know, because they got a promise to their people, like, oh, we're changing the world. We're clearing the planet. You know, we need media. Meanwhile, nobody's watching Scientology TV. Give me a break. Like, who the hell is sitting around watching North Korean programming on Scientology TV? Not even the North Koreans are watching that. So anyway, hopefully we will find some posters, some billboards. We'll get out of the car. We'll talk some shit. And, you know, maybe even have some comm cycles with passersby. You never know. You never know what could happen. So now I got to stare at all the billboards as I drive around. Yeah, I'm excited to find them too. Scientology TV assigned as a lower condition. Yeah. Um, that would be a hell of a punishment, you know. You are hereby sentenced to 300 hours of watching Scientology TV. There's a video I saw on YouTube recently, and it was some guy who just said, like, I don't know, like, I'm going to watch 24 hours of North Korean TV or something. Anyway, he was just watching North Korean propaganda, you know, the main TV channel of North Korea. And, you know, it was just mainly totally filler, but a lot, way too many pictures of the dear leader Kim Jong-un. And what's funny with Scientology, from what I've heard, now correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times they don't dare actually have Scientologists in their promotional materials, because so many times they made films with Scientologists who then later left, and then they basically had to throw out the whole film. There's the Commission on Human Rights and the museum. That's a Scientology front group we're passing right now. Looking for billboards everywhere, although not a lot right here, but there's one on the left, not a Scientology one. But this is on the way to Big Blue, and so anyway, you know, we'll see what we see. I'm not even really going by that map because I'm going a little bit by memory, but if anybody has a really detailed map of where all those billboards are and they want to email it to me at Davey Mismanige at protonmail.com, I would really appreciate that. That would be awesome. That would be an amazing resource. And if I get the exact details of where things are, I will be back, and I will find those out. And sorry I'm not responding to messages right now. You guys can chat amongst yourselves, but I got to focus on the road. I don't text and drive. Old school in that department. So anyway, here we are, Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, looking for the anti-Scientology billboards. And I don't believe they're like right next to any orgs, but supposedly there are some like pretty near, in the vicinity. And it was mentioned a couple of times that the Scientology Media Productions was one place where they were pretty close. So it's only about 70 degrees, so it's a cool day. It's a spring-like day. But apparently in the next couple days it's going to get a lot hotter, more summer-like. But anyway, yeah, traffic's already starting. Rush hour starts a little early on Fridays. So I wonder how many billboards I'll be able to find. But yeah, sorry for my prolonged absence. This is, you know, this is just my labor love kind of job, doing this. This is just fun to do. Yeah, not crashing is important for sure. So, you know, when I'm busy with my real work saving the world, I'm I don't have time for this form of saving the world. So anyway, and then there's that kind of like, oh, you lose the momentum. Eric's been great for that, because every now and then I can just go hang out with Eric and do a little live stream, and it's fun. It's great camaraderie. But another thing is that it just kind of got to be a little bit of a bummer with all the drama, and I don't do drama, and I don't pick sides, and the whole thing of like, oh, if you talk to that person then you can't talk to me or whatever. I'm not very into that vibe, so I kind of steer clear, and that's not something I'm going to get involved in. And all I can say is we don't need drama. All the drama we need is just between us and Scientology. But like a lot of times, I've said that I look at the whole anti-Scientology. Thanks, Brooke. I look at the whole anti-Scientology movement as kind of a protest movement, kind of like a revolutionary movement, really, or at least the model for what a revolutionary movement could be in the modern internet age. And so one thing about revolutionary movements is that most of them fail because of infighting, because of factionalism, right? Before they actually achieve their aims, they fall apart due to the infighting. And the more successful they seem to be getting, the more people come out of the woodwork trying to take power, trying to take control over the whole thing. Just like the way Davey Mismanige took control over Scientology. But, he had cult followers that would go along with his bullshit. But hopefully we don't have that. And so I always look at it as a shame. I'm not dumb. I do see, who is and what is what. But it's just like I'm not going to put a lot of energy into it. That's all. It's not that that I'm all Pollyanna and think everybody's great and nobody's full of shit and nobody's an asshole. I know better than that. But I also don't really want to get in the drama part. I just want to focus on Scientology and not the other people that are either authentically or inauthentically in this movement. Look, to some degree, there's been, and I think it's part of the new revolutionary movement, that protesting can be monetized because of platforms like YouTube. And I think that's generally a good thing, but it definitely causes problems. And it definitely pulls people out of the woodwork that really have no interest in Scientology itself, or becoming aware about cults or anything like that. It's just, some people think, hey, this is a place to make a buck. And I don't even begrudge them that, because good, that gives certain people an incentive to do it. But one thing, that you might notice is that there's a difference in terms of just understanding what you're fighting for. I mean, if you're gonna protest a cult, there's certain information that ideally you should possess. Like, you should understand certain things about that cult. Know thy enemy. And, there's certain people that are just don't really know much about it. But I can tell you for me, I was a fan of these protests for a couple decades before I joined. So that's why a lot of former Scientologists and a lot of viewers, listeners, are kind of shocked when they find out I was never in Scientology. Certain people would be like, how do you know so much about it if you were never in? And, well, it's because, I was watching all the anonymous protests, big fan of the angry gay pope, people of that nature, and Tory. I mean, these people, they were like mega celebrities in my world. And so, I learned a lot about it. Here we coming up on Big Blue. No billboards yet, but I didn't really expect them here. Big Blue. Saving the world, one body Thetan at a time. There's the North Korean red brick road. Anyway, let's see while I'm stopped. If I can, now I'm going again. Over here on the left is where there is a subway stop, metro stop. And this is one of the places where they come from Big Blue to do body routing. And I haven't seen anybody there in quite a while, but I'm sure they're probably there on a daily basis. But it doesn't take much to run them off, All you got to do is come up and start talking about Xenu for a few seconds. And they're gone, So the hidey hole strategy continues. So wherever you are, if there's any kind of Scientology organization nearby, just walk by, say hello. Let them know you're there and see what happens. Because chances are they will run and hide if they encounter any any kind of opposition, anybody aware of what they're really up to. Looks like I might have gotten myself in the wrong lane. Here I am getting confused about the same thing I've gotten confused about a few times. Anyway, no biggie. We'll just drive around the block a little. So let's see if we can actually find these elusive billboards out in their wild habitat. Thanks, Rika. Yes, Glarzok has returned. But it's nice that they've kind of, started trying again at the testing center, giving us something to look at, giving us a chance to have a little content, even though they do just slam the door in our faces right away. They're not very playful people, these Scientologists, They're not. Their sense of humor leaves much to be desired. Okay, so wherever it is, it's right around. Okay, now we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Yay! Okay. So there's the. No. Here I was thinking this was gonna be the sign. Okay, so their media center is over there on the left. Now the question is, where is that sign? Did I just pass it? Is it the back side? Supposed to be somewhere around here. Come on, people. Show me something. Well, I guess it's just going to make it more thrilling when I do find one because this is a little harder than I was thinking it was going to be. I thought I was just going to drive down the street and see a bunch of anti-Scientology propaganda everywhere I go. Maybe people will get excited enough, donate some cash and spread these out. Wouldn't it be amazing if like every billboard was Scientology stuff all of a sudden? Wouldn't it be amazing if like you just everywhere you went, you were seeing these billboards warning about Scientology everywhere in LA? We can dream. Okay, people with your music blasting, don't give me copyright strikes. I had to put up my window to not, because all of a sudden I realized, oh man, I could get messed up just by having that music in the background like that. I don't need that crap. Anyway, we'll go a little further here and we'll turn back around and cruise to some other spots I saw on the map. Oh, maybe if I just, close all the windows, turn on some AC, then I will avoid some of that. And one thing I'll tell you about all the protester drama, another reason I stay out of it is just because it takes too much time watching too many damn videos to even know what you're talking about with this protest drama. I don't even know all the characters anymore. And like new ones come on, like I have no idea about Zero Dark Tony. You know, I know some broad brush issues going on, but I don't know if I've even met the guy or whatever. And you know, there's a bunch of other people like that where there's drama and stories, and I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. And I'm not going to go watch a bunch of videos by people, you know, of people who friends of mine like Eric, you know, are not in favor of. I'm not going to go watch their videos to just see what's going on so I can comment. Like, no. I got other things to do in life besides that. That's not going to be the deal. But I also understand how somebody like Eric takes it quite personally when issues happen in the protest community, because he literally was stuck in there for many years just trying to kind of keep his head down just to be able to keep his family going, right? He knew if he quit, he'd get cut off by his entire family, so he didn't want that to happen. I mean, imagine literally you have to wait for your entire family to die before you can express yourself. And then you start, you know, you take that leap, you speak up against the cult, and then you feel like there's some jokers out there that are like shitting on the whole thing. I'd be pissed too, you know. I don't have that skin in the game, and so I don't have that passion about it. But I can understand why he does. And so, I'm not criticizing even people who are commenting on some of this toxic drama, because I get it. I get why they would. Let's just see if we can maybe turn around and do something different here. See if we can get some more productive places going. So we are, I don't know where the hell we are. I don't know if this is technically Silver Lake or East Hollywood or what it is, but anyway, what we are doing is we are going to go back on Sunset. Some people think it's a one-lane road, but it's not, people. So squeeze in. Oh no. Not the best choice. Cool steps though. Take a little shortcut through the alley. Probably wouldn't want to be here super late at night. Probably not a good place for your health. Okay, Sunset Boulevard. Are we going to have something going the other direction, please? At least we're going to have less rush hour traffic going this way. This is the going into town direction, not going away from town, so... So now Scientology's buying a street in Clearwater so they can just keep killing that town till it's totally dead. Poor Clearwater. I had a friend very into beaches, she was definitely a beach girl, and she complained like she would visit her boyfriend in Clearwater, Florida, and never go anywhere, and he would never show her anything, take her anywhere. And I said, well, did you go to the beach? And she said no. And then I Googled it. I saw these gorgeous white sand beaches of Clearwater. And I said, and then I looked at the address where she stayed in Clearwater. And I was like, you were 2 miles from this beach the whole time. And she looked at the picture. Like one of the most beautiful beaches you've ever seen. Like she died inside. It was like, I'm like, you could have walked there, you could have looked it up. She never even knew it existed, And I'm thinking about these people in Clearwater with this amazing beach, with, you know, all this great stuff that would bring in tourists. But then they have Scientology there just ruining it for everybody. Just making the town toxic. Sliming. Scientology Media Productions. Okay, there's supposed to be a billboard really close to this place. Where the hell is it? So I'll take another street. We'll see. Somebody was joking on a podcast like, oh, could Davey Mismanige see the billboard from his office there? I'm looking around. I don't see any billboards with Scientology that are visible from there. Here's a really cool theater, the Vista, straight up to the right. That is Quentin Tarantino bought it, renovated it, and plays, you know, older cool movies in there, vintage. I don't know. Is Purple Rain really vintage? I guess it technically is, but to my old ass, it's like a new movie practically. Okay, I see billboards coming up on the left. Could there be something? I have not seen any chalk tech lately. I've seen it in videos, but I haven't seen it out anywhere. Dan Walks LA is very good for covering the Hollywood Testing Center with chalk tech. I mean, it's kind of funny when people do the chalk and then they stay around, and then the Scientologists don't dare to come and clean it off, so it just stays there for a while. It gives me a lot of giggles. I kind of love it. And Dan is just so fun to watch. I love that guy. Oh man, did I get in the wrong lane again? Did I mess up? Well, you never know when there's going to be a billboard somewhere. Because it did look like on that map that there was a lot of stuff around the Los Feliz area, which is kind of where we are now. So who knows? I'll go with it. One thing is, I'm going to keep driving around till I at least find one, because this is going to be too much of a joke. If I find 0 billboards after doing a whole live stream dedicated to billboards, I better at least find one, or I will be the laughing stock of the entire anti-Scientology community. Can't have that. Got to keep the ego going. Can't humiliate the old ego. Yeah, Twila, I do look backwards, but sometimes it's a little dangerous. But yeah, I do look behind to see if the billboard, if the backside is relevant to our needs. And also, that's why, like on Sunset Boulevard, I went around the other way so I could see them from the other side, because I'm not going to take, extraordinary risks when it comes to driving around looking for things. I'm just a little too cautious for that, but and there's a lot of areas where there just aren't billboards. But that map that was online was just a little vague. It showed areas, and I'm trying to pick the areas closer to Scientology locations, because it showed some kind of going downtown, towards downtown. I'm not going to go there today, but I'm going to keep going until we find something. I'm not going to give up that easily. Because what a great opportunity to interact with some people, perhaps, maybe, and ask them what they think of the billboard. Uh-oh. Come on. Sorry about this. My gimbal's acting weird. There we go. Maybe better. It's just when it's not held perfectly upright, I guess it has to hi Lori. It has to keep adjusting, and it wears itself out doing that, I guess. Wow, a lot of traffic for a Friday. I mean, for this street, it's kind of crazy. let's see if this avenue is any more productive. If I gotta use a tank of gas searching out one boulevard, I guess that's what's gonna have to happen. But I probably could have picked a better time of day to do it than 4 in the afternoon approaching rush hour. That's probably not the best decision I've made all day. Whatever. I'm going to take this street down a bit and try to look in the rear view to make sure I didn't see anything the other way. And then I'll come up another street that has a lot of stuff. And hopefully I'll find something somewhere. I really thought that the thing by the media production center would be more obvious to find, but whatever. At some point, there's going to have to be a better map detailing where all these locations are. And when that happens, I will be back out, hitting them one by one. So this is just the beginning. Wild goose chase aspect of the search. So we're just a couple blocks from Big Blue here. Any billboards that would be right here would be very well placed. I don't think they have the one that got taken down last time. That was to the right here in a couple blocks. But I'm not going to go look for that because I really doubt that they did that again. I think it would have been mentioned in one of the podcasts if they had redone that one. That's the one that they put a scissor lift right up in front of it, and Scientology was freaking out because they could see the billboard from Big Blue. And I think it got taken down within a few days or something pretty quickly. It didn't last long. Scientology threw all their weight behind killing that billboard, and they were successful. So, hopefully they will not be successful with this new batch. Apparently the company that's doing it has bigger cojones than the other one did. So I'm hoping that remains the case. What if they're already all gone? Then it's a real wild goose chase, just going around looking for billboards that don't exist anymore. But I don't think they're all gone by now. It didn't sound like they were gonna back down quite so easily this time. Let's hope that is the case. And I am monitoring the rear view just to make sure I don't miss something. Hopefully I don't spaz out with too much joy when I finally do spot one. Hopefully I'll be able to maintain my composure in the face of explosive glee. come on, dudes. Where's the billboard, man? So anyway, yeah. I think we're starting a new chapter of this movement. I think it might be a little less dramatic, a little less riveting on certain levels, but it's that kind of slow grinding thing of just eroding them by just staying on it, like the testing center is a beautiful example. They keep opening those doors, handing out flyers, whatever. But when one of us comes by, they shut it all down right away. And so it really is a matter of one of us showing up, every couple of hours. If that happens, that's probably enough to keep things shut down. The fact is they could just stand out there and talk to us. It kind of is indicative of guilt in a way to run away when somebody starts talking about your religion. I'm sure if you stood out in front of a Catholic church, you'd get people to talk to you. They might get pissed off. You start talking about what the Catholic Church has been up to. Not everybody would be thrilled to hear it. But I bet they wouldn't all go run and hide in the church immediately. I kind of think they might actually have a conversation with you. I could be wrong. And the Catholic Church is totally busted on so many levels. But I think they can get out and talk about it, even though, they're full of shit. But, they don't just run and hide and cover their face and freak out like Scientologists. At least they got that going for them. And personally, I think the Catholic Church, I think it's not questionable. The Catholic Church has done a lot more evil than Scientology's ever dreamed of doing. If that pisses you off, be pissed off. But the Catholic Church, I believe, is quite a bad organization, if not a cult in its own right. And but yet they don't act like Scientology. And you know why? Because I think deep down they believe in Catholicism, but deep down Scientologists know that it's a cult. They know it's bullshit. They know they're ripping people off. Yeah, there are true believers, but I think a lot of people, when they get to the higher levels in Scientology, they actually know for a fact what a ripoff it is. And one of the things that I found fascinating, talking to Eric, was how little he actually participated in Scientology for a long, long time. And he was able to kind of not really do Scientology without quitting for like 20 years or something. I might have that wrong. It might be longer. It might be shorter. I'm not sure. But I believe he spent decades basically not doing any auditing, not really doing anything. Paying a little lip service, like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this thing next year or whatever. Also, it was like his family had given them a lot of money, so they had some pull, they had some influence. So I guess he didn't get messed with as much due to that. But then, Aaron, I was watching Aaron the other day, and he was talking about how he hated doing auditing, and he really avoided doing any auditing, and he was pretty successful at that. And, that's something I didn't really know was possible, that you could be, okay, if this traffic stays like this, I might have to eat my words, because I'm not going to drive around in rush hour forever. Okay. So, a lot of people are, most of the Scientologists have left, as we know. Their numbers have dwindled like crazy. But I think what most people, what nobody really knows, but we know anecdotally, is that a lot of people that are still in Scientology are there in name only. They are Scientologists because they don't want to get declared suppressive. They don't want to lose their family, their job, their social circle, whatever. So they play along. They do the minimum that's required to not cause a lot of trouble. They keep their heads down, and I'm sure Scientology has no interest in losing a lot more people, so maybe they don't push it, and maybe they allow that to happen, because better to have somebody that's barely doing any Scientology than somebody who officially left. Everybody that leaves, it must be a PR nightmare within the organization. Everybody that leaves, you got to classify them as a suppressive person. You got to make it like they're all evil and that's why they left. Meanwhile, a week ago, you were giving them honors and saying how great they were. So Scientology is very Orwellian. If you remember in 1984, how they would change history. They would change the newspapers of the past and whatever, that they would update it to their current reality. And they always changed who they were at war with, but then they'd say, no, we were always in war with Oceania or whatever. And everybody would just switch over to the new story. And so Scientology's kind of like that, they have to say, no, that person was always a suppressive person. Everything was always like it was, and but meanwhile, well, why didn't you figure that out before when they were in Scientology? Why didn't you out them as a suppressive person? Why did you let them stay in the organization this long if you always knew? Shouldn't you have known a suppressive person? So, but, the cultists just go along with the revisionist history, and, because there is no upside to speaking out. There is no upside to telling the truth if the truth goes against the party line. You're just going to get in trouble. And getting in trouble in Scientology means doing More Scientology, paying more money. And that's the last thing somebody wants to do when they're trying to ease out of the organization. The last thing they want to do is be pushed into a situation where they either have to leave and become a suppressive person and cut their ties with everybody in the organization, which oftentimes includes family, employer, or employees if you're the employer. I mean, it's really very disruptive to your life if you have to leave. If you have to lose everybody in your life, a lot of people are just like, well, I'll just play the game. And so my point being that there's a huge percentage of Scientologists out there that are just playing the game. They're not really even Scientologists anymore. They're just doing the minimum. So, not only has Scientology lost 90% of its members, an unknown percentage of the remaining members are Scientologists in name only. And they are doing the bare minimum to just not be declared suppressive persons. And so imagine when somebody leaves, the impact that that has on the organization. Imagine all the people who don't dare leave, and then somebody that they know very well, somebody that maybe had a much higher rank than them, actually does leave. Well, that's kind of like a little permission slip, like, oh, maybe I could do that too, you know? It's kind of like something that could spread virally. You know, one thing of liberation that I use as analogy a lot is how much gay people have come out of the closet in my lifetime, where it went from that gay people could get fired for jobs legally. They could suffer all kinds of discrimination. And it's gone all the way to now where gay people can get married. I mean, it's such a huge thing. And the thing is, every gay person that came out of the closet probably influenced many, many more to do the same. And then, you know, you reach a certain critical mass, and then it's just over. And it's really incredible that Scientology somehow hasn't seemed to reach that critical mass yet. But then again, haven't they? Have they? I mean, hardly anybody's left in Scientology. They're really only staying alive as kind of a series of real estate holdings around the world. I mean, that's really what Scientology is. It's empty buildings being maintained by slaves. I mean, that's really what it is. And so, you know, is that really a viable situation? I don't think so. So maybe Scientology's as dead as it can be for quite a while. Maybe, yeah, Scientology isn't going to gain a lot of people, and it's going to keep losing people, even just through attrition, even just through the fact that they have an elderly membership that will leave this planet and head off to Chijiak to hang out with Elron. But maybe in 20 years, Scientology will look similar to what it does right now. The thing is, I don't think so, because 20 years from now, little Davey probably won't be with us anymore. And if he is, he probably won't be in the best shape. To run a cult of that nature, takes a little fire in the belly. And so, as a real estate empire with a bunch of empty buildings, it's basically just a real estate portfolio. Maybe that could go on for a long time. Who knows? But as a viable cult that's dragging in new members continuously to destroy their lives, it's actually already over. They're barely getting any new people. I'm sure they get a few a month, whatever. They're not getting enough new people to pay utilities, let alone any other bills. The Scientology orgs are run where people that are not in the Sea Org, the people that are manning the orgs, well, these people, they're paid based on how much money their org brings in, and no org is bringing in any money. So how the hell is that supposed to work? You're gonna lose staff, and you're already losing members, but you're gonna lose more staff because people literally have to work 2 jobs and prioritize the one that pays them zero money practically. So Scientology staff is probably getting paid less than Sea Org, $50 a week. And then they got to go out and scramble, live in an apartment with 10 other people and split rent. That must be a little demoralizing. Maybe you get used to it. Who knows? So what a death spiral it is. But, a death spiral could be made far more comfortable with a couple $1 billion in the bank. But in the end, it's a death spiral, no matter what. Doesn't matter how many billions of dollars you have in the bank. You dead meat, Scientology. You're not going anywhere. So, not one single billboard in an hour and a half or something? That's what they would call in Scientology a fail. Guilty as charged. Leaders in Leadership. You mean that's not a Scientology one? Okay. Um, just in case somebody's turning left. There we go, Griffiths Observatory straight ahead. So I hope everybody's getting ready for an awesome weekend. Oh, there's a nice Mustang. Nice beat up old vintage Mustang. Not restored to any pristine condition for sure. Okay. Is there going to be anything here? I think down by the 101. Now, we're going to get close to the Celebrity Center, but I doubt there's anything there because if there was, I would have heard about it. The only one that they mentioned where it was really close to a Scientology location was that media production place, but then I couldn't find it there. But I think there might be some a little past the Celebrity Center. We'll see. And when I go back out, I will have exact coordinates and I will go straight to the locations. My homework today has been sloppy, I must admit. But anyway, got me back on the horse again after a long, I was just in New York and I was going to go to the New York org, but I was so busy with appointments that I just didn't have the time to do it. It was a bummer because that New York org, if any of you guys have seen any videos, I did one a year ago or whatever from there. But that place, the way the sign is dilapidated and stuff, it's really incredible. I mean, this is a really high visibility location, not really on the level of Hollywood Boulevard, but close, because it's in the theater district, Times Square, and it's Manhattan. So, any street in Manhattan, you got tons of people walking down the street. And to have this thing with the letters are falling off, like, the sign was just so bad. It just really looked derelict. And I mean, what would it be? A couple $100 to fix what was messed up? It was cosmetic. It wasn't some huge thing. Like, ideally, yeah, they'd have to redo the whole sign, but they just had like stupid things like missing letters and just things that made it look really bad, and then we got San Francisco that I've been meaning to go back to for a while, but that Aaron Cairo guy, what a story. You go off to business school, abandon your business collapses, and now you're in charge of a totally dying Scientology org. Wow. Watch out, Wharton. Here they come. The business geniuses of Scientology. And I mean, they put them through this thing of like where they have to sleep during the day. And there we go. We're just passing La Poubelle, Celebrity Center, some of the highlights of the Scientology universe in LA. Thank you guys for hanging with me. All 13 of you on a Friday. All right. Friday, 13. Yay. I appreciate every single view. In my normal job, I do kind of therapy, and I dig deep into people's issues and help people try to transform some major things in their life, and it gets to some heavy stuff. And this, funny enough, this is the fun time. This is the fun and games relief from the other thing. This is the palate cleansing operation. So kind of funny that that's the way I perceive it. But I look at it as, in my job, I'm trying to help people overcome issues that are holding them back. And as an alternative therapist, you could say, I use alternative methods to help people transform and quote unquote raise the frequency. Yes, I am very woo-woo in my approach. And then I look at this work as being kind of my global work, my political work, my, broad-based, trying to help society kind of work rather than one-on-one with people. And so, looks like I'm missing this one. Okay. I studied political science. I have a master's and a bachelor's in political science. And I kind of always wanted to do something with some of that knowledge, because that is not my day job. And, as I was looking for something, but I wanted it to be something I was passionate about. And then I saw Streets LA out there, and I started watching his videos and realizing, oh my God, that's walking distance from my house. I need to get in on this. And it was a blast, but then the testing center got shut down. They closed. I mean, it didn't totally get shut down, but they quit coming out to play. So it was a lot less fun. And then there was the Big Blue and the whole fiasco and all the drama and bullshit around that. And then Eric made the really good point of like, hey, we don't need to go anywhere near a Scientology location. In a way, it could even be counterproductive and play into their hands. So I was like, that makes sense too. And the way, the effort that Scientology puts into taking down his flyers kind of shows you that they don't like those flyers being up there. Another reason for wanting to see these billboards, because if they don't like Eric's flyers going up all over the valley, well, I bet you they even hate these billboards more. I think that's a very safe, educated guess. Yeah, car behind me. You want to get pissed that I don't turn? Tough shit. Not taking a risk for somebody's impatience. Sorry about this gimbal going offline. I'll pull over and fix it. Sorry to get you guys turned sideways. Well, you know what? If I don't see something pretty soon, I think I'm going to have to submit and let you guys call me a liar and fess up to the fact that my research was inadequate today. Mea culpa, mea culpa. But I will research more, and I will get back out here, and I will find all of these damn things. I can't believe I haven't found a single one. That is really lame. You would think, as somebody like me who's done all this edumacation, that I would be a little more conscientious in my research. But alas, I have not been today, and I do apologize for that. But at least we get to see the Econ car. I wonder if they're cultish. I really don't know. That's one of those funky religions right up straight ahead. Econ car. I don't know what the hell they believe in and what they're all about, but I'm sure it's probably not as bad as Scientology. That would be my wild guess. I think they used to have TV commercials and stuff, but whatever. What is your frequency, Kenneth? Funny little comment to see out of context. I gotta look through when I'm not driving, see what kind of conversations I don't even know have been happening in my chat while I've been driving. Here's the crossroads of the world. I always wondered what the hell that was all about. I think it's like a place where you can go and rent recording studios or something. But I still don't totally know, which is lame. Many lamenesses today. Well, enjoy the beauty of Sunset Boulevard at rush hour. That's another thing. I'm going to do this thing when it's definitely not rush hour. And especially since a lot of people are in other time zones, I can definitely do it early. That way I can zip around and see everything. But if anybody comes across a better map of all of these billboard locations, Davey Mismanige at protonmail.com. It's in the links, in the channel description. Shoot me an email with the link to that map. I'd really love to see it. It would be really funny if I just drive right here and then all of a sudden I see some kind of billboard. It's always the last place you look, right? Yeah, duh. Of course it's the last place you look, because you don't keep looking after you find the thing. Like, what the hell? The last place you look. One of the dumbest concepts in human consciousness. It's always the last place you look. My most detested street of LA, Highland Avenue, coming up ahead, everything's always stuck and messed up. Oh, now, when you get close to Highland, it's a disaster. Cars are zipping by like it's a freeway, and then it's always blocked traffic in the area. Whine, 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 bitch, moan. But it's true. And even here, like, the road is all messed up where there's like all these grooves, so you feel your car feels all weird when you drive over there because the tires are falling into these grooves and stuff. Yeah. As if you care. Oh man, did my goddamn light mess up again? Come on, people. Well, you guys, I am going to surrender, and I am going to call this the epic fail of all epic fails of the Billboard finding. I was just looking up there at this Karate Kid thing and being like, I saw it was a billboard and like, hey, maybe I'm going to actually see the thing right here. But no, it's Karate Kid, not anti-Scientology. So, time for me to get a iced coffee at 7-Eleven and wish you guys all a great weekend. And I hope to be back sooner than before. Not take such breaks. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for being here. And let me say goodbye. Personally, thanks so much. And I will see you when I have done my homework and I know where the billboards are. I'm going to be there. Bye-bye.